Okay, so let's dive right in. For centuries, there's been one single artifact that has just stumped scientists, historians, and, well, pretty much everyone. It's a simple piece of linen cloth, but it holds an image that modern science, even today, just cannot fully explain. We are, of course, talking about the Shroud of Turin.
And this is it. This is the image we're talking about. It's over 14 feet long, and this linen cloth has these faint front and back imprints of a man who was, very clearly, crucified. For 2,000 years, tradition has claimed this is the actual burial cloth of Jesus Christ. But it was a discovery right at the dawn of the 20th century that turned this ancient relic into a truly profound scientific mystery.
So the modern part of this story really kicks off in 1898. An amateur photographer, his name was Secondo Pia, was given permission to take the first ever photograph of the shroud. Now, he was just expecting to document it, to get a simple record of the cloth, but what he found instead, it shocked the entire world.
When Pia developed his glass photographic plates, he saw something that was, well, it was impossible. That faint ghost-like image on the cloth was actually a perfect photographic negative. So when he looked at his negative plate, the image reversed, and it revealed this stunningly realistic, anatomically perfect, positive image of a man. It was literally like looking at a photograph.
And this just begs the question, right? How is that even possible? How could an image with all the properties of a photographic negative be encoded onto a piece of cloth hundreds of years before anyone even dreamed of a camera? This one discovery was a spark that ignited decades of intense scientific research.
But here's the crazy part. That photographic property, that was just the first layer of the mystery. Decades later, another discovery would peel back a second layer, revealing impossible information hidden right there in the image itself.
Okay, so in the 1970s, scientists get their hands on a device called a VP8 image analyzer. It was designed for things like analyzing X-rays or mapping planets from photos. Think of it like this. It takes the lights and darks of a flat 2D picture and tries to turn it into a 3D relief map. So the darker an area is, the further away it thinks the object is. So naturally, when they fed a normal photo or a painting into this thing, it just produced a distorted mess, as you'd expect. But when they put in a photograph of the shroud, the result was breathtaking. A perfect, anatomically correct 3D image of a human body just appeared on the screen. This meant the image wasn't just some surface picture, it had accurate three-dimensional data encoded right into it. Data about the distance between the body and the cloth.
And look, you don't have to take my word for how unique this was. Peter Schumacher, the engineer who actually operated the device, was totally stunned. He said he had never seen anything like it, before or since. It was this discovery, this 3D information, that directly led to the most in-depth scientific examination of the shroud ever.
This discovery lit a fire under the scientific community and led to the formation of the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or STURP as it's known. This wasn't just one or two guys, it was a whole team of leading American scientists from different fields who got unprecedented permission to do a hands-on, non-destructive examination of the cloth itself. So the team's journey really starts in '76, right after that 3D discovery. By 1978, they were in Turin with crates and crates of cutting-edge equipment ready for 120 hours of non-stop, round-the-clock testing. And then they spent the next 3 years analyzing every single bit of data before they published their official findings. And their conclusions, which they published in peer-reviewed scientific journals, were just mind-blowing. They found absolutely no pigments, no paints, no dyes, nothing. They concluded it was not the work of an artist. The image itself is this incredibly superficial discoloration affecting only the top 1 or 2 tiny microfibers of the linen threads. We're talking a depth of less than 0.2 micrometers. And, get this, they also determined the real bloodstains were on the cloth before the image was even formed. Their final conclusion? The problem is unsolved. The image remains an ongoing mystery.
So, for years, the mystery just got deeper. But then, in 1988, it seemed like science was finally about to drop the mic and deliver a single, definitive answer. This was the moment that created a massive plot twist in the entire story of the Shroud.
3 of the most respected radiocarbon dating labs on the planet, in Oxford, Zurich, and Tucson, were given these tiny samples cut from a corner of the shroud. The goal was simple: figure out how old the cloth is, and finally, settle this debate once and for all.
The results came back, and they were explosive. All 3 labs agreed. The cloth dated to the Middle Ages, somewhere between 1260 and 1390 AD.
Well, the implication was just unavoidable. The Shroud had to be a masterful medieval forgery. The headlines went absolutely global, and for most of the public and a lot of the scientific community, the case was officially closed. The mystery was over. Or was it?
Well, as it turns out, that case wasn't closed for long. I mean, the verdict seemed final, but there were all these nagging questions. Like, how could some medieval forger create an image with 20th century photographic and 3D properties? Decades later, new analysis would challenge that bombshell finding and blow the whole investigation wide open again.
So here's the key. The raw, underlying data from those 1988 labs was finally released to the public in 2017. And for the first time, independent researchers could use modern statistical tools to look at the original measurements. And they found something the original report had completely missed.
And this is where the problem just becomes so obvious. The data showed this clear, straight-line trend. The measured age of the cloth got younger and younger as you moved along this tiny little sample strip. In statistics, that is a massive red flag. It means the sample wasn't homogeneous, it wasn't uniform. A valid sample should give you the same date, within a margin of error, no matter which bit you test. This one didn't, not even close.
So the conclusion from multiple peer-reviewed papers is that this date gradient proves the corner they tested was not representative of the whole cloth. For whatever reason, maybe contamination, medieval repair, something else, the sample was flawed. And that means the 1260 to 1390 date, while it was measured correctly from that sample, is statistically invalid for dating the Shroud as a whole. And just like that, the mystery was back on.
So, if it's not a medieval forgery, what on earth is it? We're right back to the original STURP conclusion. We have an image with properties that science cannot replicate. And this has led researchers to look for theories that can explain all of these bizarre data points at the same time.
Modern attempts to replicate the image are just fascinating. Italian scientists used these super high-powered lasers and figured out that to create a similar coloration, you would need an ultraviolet burst of several billion watts. This has led to the leading modern hypothesis that the image was formed by a brief, intense burst of radiation that came from the body itself. Now, an event like that could explain the superficial, high-res image with its 3D data. And here's the kicker. If that burst included neutrons, it could have also created brand new carbon-14 atoms in the linen, which would make the cloth appear artificially younger in a carbon dating test.
What's so compelling about this idea is that it's holistic. It's like the one theory that connects all the dots. It provides a single potential explanation for the three biggest mysteries of the Shroud: the unforgeable image, the encoded 3D data, and that statistically invalid carbon date. It suggests a completely unique event left behind a completely unique artifact.
Which leaves us right back where we started, but with a much, much deeper appreciation for the mystery. So, what is the Shroud of Turin? A medieval masterpiece made with some kind of lost technology? A freak natural phenomenon that we just don't understand yet? Or is it physical evidence of an event that lies completely outside the current boundaries of science? For now, that haunting image remains an ongoing, unsolved mystery.